what's up, everybody? How we doing out there? That's terrible. Try again. How we doing? What's up, Frightreads? I'm Todd from Todd Talks and the Hockey View crew, and
I love you, Todd!
I love you. You're so dreamy. But hope you all having a good time out there today. We are here for the People Under the Stairs reunion. We have Bill Perry on the end. We have Bill Perry on the end. John Birch.
Yeah!
Brandon Adams.
Oh!
And Sean Whalen.
Yeah!
We're going to go over, the experiences, what it was like doing the movie. I guess I'll start off, whichever end we want to start off on. Could you explain how each of you became involved with the project, how you got to work with Wes Craven?
Mine was just an audition. It was an audition. I went to my acting coach and I thought, well, I can just crawl around and yell and sing. And he goes, no, there's a lot more going on here. So we worked on the idea that I was clueless and that I didn't know that I was doing anything good. I didn't know that I was helping anybody. I was just having fun, trying to protect the kids and give the bad guys a hard time. But it was a very weird audition because you were in raggedy clothes crawling around Wes Craven's floor. So my friends who were business majors all were saying that their interviews have gone in suits and briefcases, and I go, well, my job interview was crawling around Wes Craven's floor, screaming, crying, and curled up in a ball. And I go, but I got it. So they did a bunch of other ones. They did some where I was scary, then some where I was like having fun, and then the death scene. So I did like a range of everything. So mine was just an audition, and it was for Wes. I didn't go to pre-read or anything. I went straight to Wes Craven, and an hour later they called and said I got it. So very cool. Very fast for a movie, which was unusual.
It was kind of similar. I remember it was like a one-day process. I remember getting the call. I had the audition after a day of school. I was at school all day, and then I went on the audition afterwards. I remember knowing that it was for Wes Craven, and I was hyped about that. I remember my grandmother picked me up from school, and she said, we have an audition for a movie with Wes Craven. And I don't know, because there's a lot of cursing in it. And I said, come on, Grandma, I gotta do it. I wanna do it, And I went for the audition. I think they had me read with a couple different people, and by the end of the day, I got it, and I was just happy. I was excited.
Well, I had a similar experience that Sean had. I actually had to go to it. I had an audition with Eileen Knight first. And at that point, Wes hadn't developed the Stairmaster yet. It was still growing in his head. So he didn't really know what to do. So I had to audition for Roach, basically. And a lot of different exercises, because my time was cut out too. So he had me do, basically, I actually did the dog thing in the wall, I remember. He said the dog is chasing you in the wall, and then I had to die. I had to do the dying scene that Roach later does. And then actually, the next day they called and said, Wes wants to see you. So then I went to see Wes, and I did the same thing, and then besides that, he just wanted to, he said, just tell me about yourself. So I just told him, who I was and, what I like to do. And he just wanted to feel some kind of a vibe, I think. And then, same as these guys. I left an hour later, the phone rang. It was a great experience.
Well, for me, it's funny, I got a lot of the work I got because of my size. I'm a very short guy, you couldn't tell. But I was also ridiculously skinny, and they said what we are looking for is someone who hasn't looked like they haven't eaten very well, or not eaten in a very long time. I'm like, I'm your man. And so I met Wes, and he kept calling me Wally. My name's William, and he just could never seem to get that. And so he said, okay, well, you're going to be Wally, and Wally comes out of the wall. And that was it. It's like, you're Wally, Wally comes out on the wall. And so it was just it was really more about just height and weight and emaciated sort of physique. We still have that sort of friends that can be an outcast generator with. And so I think the real impact of it is really just the community that it created.
It definitely is a film that still holds up after all these years.
Yeah,
I watched it again.
If you don't mind me adding, it's one of the very, very few movies that was number one in the box office for 6 weeks and then become a top one. It's kind of either one or the other. But we were fortunate, all of us, to be involved in one of the few that did both for us. And that made a difference for us because the cost side is the conventions, and the number one here is like, yeah, we're going to have a number one box office. But it's also a nice thing to know.
Yeah, I guess at this point, open it up to questions if you want to come up to the microphone if you're able
I'm
to.
good.
Whoever.
Good afternoon, So the question I have for you is this. An interesting thing for me that struck me in the film was both the people under the stairs and the community grew into three-dimensional characters as the movie went on, as the movie progressed. So this is a question about transformation. I noticed that towards the end of the film, for the people under the stairs, freedom was about getting out of the house. For the community, it was about getting to the house and breaking down the landlord. And then at a point, when everybody realized they were free, the community and the people under the stairs were facing each other. And there was this beautiful element there. So I wonder if you all can expand on that.
Well,
No, I was dead.
I mean, for me, it's something that I didn't understand till later, and I was older, and I started watching the movie, and then I could see all the social, economical undertones that Wes Craven put in there, and there was a lot of that, and it was brilliantly done. I think the way he did it, it was, and then it's not, like you said, there was the characters in the house who were trying to get from under the foot of the parents, and then also you had the whole community. They were the slumlords of where we all lived, And then on top of that, a little black kid got to save everybody, and didn't die and save the day. So I thought it was, I thought he was ahead of his time with all that.
Awesome. It's the most important scene in the movie. Not the actual walking out, the scene with me and Brandon, when he's letting you know like how to get out and all that stuff. That was a very emotional moment, and I have actually a story about that scene that shows you a little bit about Wes. So we were doing it over and over again, and it got late, and it was somebody's birthday or bachelor or something. So the crew wanted to get going, but Wes wanted to get this plan because he knew how important the scene was, and we were doing it. And no offense, but Brandon just didn't get it. It was late at night. He was 11 years old, and he was tired, and he just read his lines, and Wesley's like, no, this is a very important scene. You've got to be emotional when you're telling me these things. You've got to get out of breath, do this, do that, just think about something. Nothing worked, just by verbal instructions. So he just said, hey, hold on a minute. Told everybody to just stop. He took Brandon in his hand. It was Renmont Studios in Hollywood, which is about 4 blocks around, like a square. And he ran out with Brandon, and they jogged through the square of the 4 blocks. They come in, he more or less throws this kid on the set, like that, and says, action. And we shot it, and that's the scene that they kept in the movie. That was, so, and then, of course, I get that nice headshot walking out with a smile on my face. I did feel like I was part of a community at that point. I was the first one under the stairs, and the character was probably dying to get out for years and years and years. And then finally, I was out, and everybody was my friend. That's how I felt when I walked out, as an actor and as a person. I love that scene. And it was late at night, and yeah, that was one of my favorite scenes to shoot.
I have no way to top that story.
Well, technically, 2 questions. Quick. First, where'd you get that glass? Because that is awesome. Tabby crafts. Are they here? Oh, okay. A little far away. The second question is just, well, you already answered what yours was, but what was the favorite scene for each of you to film?
That's really hard because I like them for different reasons. The times that like I got to do the slingshot and me and Brandon got to run around that maze. We had so much fun. I mean, I got to be a kid again, literally, you know, because Roach was a kid. And so running through that was really fun. But I think it really was the death scene because he let me really go there. He let me prepare and be really sad inside. And he hid people away from me while I was preparing. And they were like, "Is he okay?" And they're like, "He's working. He's working." And because I knew he was sad to die, but he couldn't show that to me. Couldn't show that to Fool, or else Fool would get too concerned and not save Alice, you know. So it was. I mean, it was my first acting scene in my career. Like in terms of like there had some meat to it, you know.
Best one so far.
And it was the best one. I've never gotten close to it since. Peaked. Was I peaked?
He peaked to it. He peaked in his first movie.
It's hard for me to choose one, man. I had so much fun on that set, from working with the dogs to getting electrocuted to all this stuff. But I would probably say anything with the lady who played the mom, Wendy Roby. She was terrifying. She was a good actress, but she was scared the shit out of me every time I had to do something serious.
Well, like I said, I kind of already answered the question, but my second favorite scene is then actually doing it verbatim, coming out of the stairs with Wendy, when Wendy's not up, and they even had a hairpiece on me, which I lost, like on most of the takes. So it took a whole day to shoot that. Yeah. Sean was in the, he was in the scene first, and they said he doesn't have enough hair for this scene. But no, joke aside, that was also very, very nice because I was in the actual house on that scene. You know, the other scene that we did was in the studio. There under the stairs, there was an actual house. They fucked up those stairs. Like, you know, excuse my language, and then they blew up the house. It was a real explosion. Yeah, that was fun.
For myself, Wendy Roby was really very kind of eccentric sort of character even back then. And when I'm wearing that mask, I can't see anything. And they said, we want you to come through the wall, we want you to grab her legs, try to bite her, try to scratch her, do anything you can. And she was a little afraid of that because I couldn't see anything, I didn't know what I was doing. And so we did a little stuntman trick, which is where I'm not grabbing at her, she is kicking me. Because then she's in control of the amount of contact that we're gonna have. So if you watch it, it's almost like watching it in reverse now. She's kicking the crap out of me. And I'm trying to make it look like I'm grabbing her because at any time, if she stopped kicking, I'm not doing anything. So she's not in danger. Because when you're blind, coming through a wall like that, if you don't know exactly where she is, you could hurt her. And we didn't want that, obviously. And the real actress did it. There was no stunt double for that. So it was kind of a fun thing. And I got to, have a little chat with her and make her feel comfortable about the fact that, I was going to be coming through the wall and where. But it was just kind of one of those fun things where it's like, yeah, that's a little movie magic stuff that if you didn't know, you would know. And it was, when I watch it now, I always, look at the times I'm getting kicked in the face.
Oh, not right now.
That's one thing a lot of people don't realize is that when you're doing a scene with the victim and an aggressor, is that the victim is really the one that's in control of the scene where the physicality goes.
The body thing is, once that scene was done, this naked, cut open Big Rames was just under the makeup counter, just laying there every day, cut wide open and everything. And you'd sit there, and I remember one time he came in, and I said, all our family and friends are coming. They go, keep talking about your wife, and you say she doesn't live far. Like, why isn't she coming to visit? And he just goes, she don't want to see that shit.
I wish we could keep going. We have to stop here for the next panel. Please show some love